Hi everyone, welcome back to Artificial and Fact. So now, on this video, we're gonna talk about how monopolies make production and pricing decisions. Here we have 4 parts. The first one is monopoly versus competition. The second one is a monopoly's revenue. The third one is profit maximization. And the last one is a monopoly's profit. So without any further ado, let's get to our topic. First, what is monopoly? According to Investopedia, monopoly is a dominant position of an industry or a sector by one company to the point of excluding all other viable competitors. Monopoly is characterized by the absence of competition, which can lead to high costs for consumers. Monopolies are often discouraged in free market nations. They are seen as leading to price gouging and deteriorating quality due to the lack of alternative choices for consumers. They also can concentrate wealth, power, and influence in the hands of one or a few individuals. Now let's start with part 1, monopoly versus competition. On this part, of course, we have to know what is the main difference between the monopoly and competition. So here we have monopoly. First, monopoly has the influence to change the price in the market. Next, it cannot produce much because people not going to sell anything if they charge a really high price. And remember this one, that people can produce whatever they want, so just they will also sell at the same level price. Next, the other important thing is the demand of a firm is the same demand of the market. Or basically, since there is no other competitors, the demand that face is going to be exactly like the demand of the market. Now, we're moving to competitive market or competition. So, when monopoly can influence the market price, on competitive market, each firm is too small to be influence the market price. Then, on competitive market, the price is established a horizontal line. Because it doesn't matter how much is going to be your production, the price that we'll receive is going to be exactly the same. And also the important thing is basically these are we called as a price taker, or known as a situation when a firms or sellers cannot determine the price, so they just taken the price from the market. Here's some example. There is one apple that costs $1, and when you charge the apple more than $1, of course no one is going to buy that apple. And it doesn't make any sense if you just charge the apple for 80 cents because you can sell that to $1 for sure. So that's why the price is established at horizontal line, and the firm can sell as much as the price. Next, on competitive market, there is a curve perfectly elastic because there is a multiply substitutes. So if you don't offer or if you charge a higher price, no one is going to buy. So that is called perfectly elastic. Then here we have two figures. We can see on figure A, because competitive firms are price takes, they in effect face horizontal demand curves. And on figure B, because a monopoly firm is the sole producer in its market, it faces the downward sloping market demand curve. As a result, the monopoly has to accept a lower price if it wants to sell more output. Now we're moving to part 2, monopoly's revenue. Here we have table that include data about Chipotle prices menus of burritos. There is the quantity from 0 to 7 of burritos food, and also we have the price that measures in dollars. Now we're gonna learn about the difference. First, this is not a competitive firm. Why? Basically because the price. Because remember, that doesn't matter the quantity, if that is a competitive firm, the price will be exactly the same. Next, we are notice here that when the quantity is increases, the price decrease, and that is the inverse relationship. So here now, we're talking about the demand. Now if we have a price of $7.50, we don't have any quantity, or in other words, we're not going to sell any burritos. Then, When we immediately have a lower price like $7, we're gonna sell one burrito. So, if the price is really low, of course the quantity will be sold more because people also will buy more. So that's the idea, because we know that with high price, no one is going to buy, but with lower price, a lot of people they're going to. Next, we have the total revenue. Remember, total revenue is defined by the price times quantity. Then first, we have $7.50 times 0 is 0. Next, $7 times 1 is still same $7, and so on, until here, we have $4 times 7 is $28. Next, we have here the average revenue. And for the average revenue is going to be the total revenue over quantity. So first here we have total revenue is 0 over the quantity also 0, and that's not going to be defined. Next we have total revenue $7 over quantity is 1, and it's going to be also $7, and so on until here $28 over 7 for the quantity, it's going to be $4. And remember that the average revenue is going to be the typical cost of each unit produced, and each unit will represent. Then we have the marginal revenue. Marginal revenue, which is going to be the additional revenue of one additional unit produced or sold better. Here we have the delta TR or delta total revenue over delta Q or delta quantity. Now, we're gonna put the $7 in the middle. So total revenue will be changed, which is going to be $7 minus 0 over quantity. Then the result is going to be $7, and so on until here we have the marginal revenue is $1. Next, we have to know that there are several important points. The first one is Monopolies' marginal revenue is always less than the price of the good. The second one, marginal revenue could face a downward sloping demand curve. And the third one is when the monopoly increases the amount it sells, it has two effects. The first one is output effect, or more output sold, quantity is higher and it tends to increase total revenue. The next effect is price effect. When the price falls, price is lower, so it tends to decrease the total revenue. Here we're moving to see the graph based on the previous table about burritos food from Chipotle. First of all, the prices start at the same point, that is from $7.50 and then change. The graph also shows that marginal revenue is lower than the demand but not have a negative number. Then, a competitive firm sell all it produce that they do not have price effect. It means basically the competitive firm don't have any change in the price effect because the total revenue is going to be exactly as the price. So yeah, it doesn't matter if we sell 1 unit or 100 unit, the price is going to be exactly the same. Now let's move to part 3, that is profit maximization. So the maximization is determined by the intersection if the marginal revenue is exactly equal to marginal cost. Here both are the same course that will already represent the demand marginal revenue that is totally different from a competitive market, because the demand is going to be like exactly the marginal revenue. Here in this situation, downward shape equation, and here this is the trick when we have the average total cost as usual kind of U-shape. We have told about the characteristic margin because that it cuts the minimum point of the average total cost. And then when the marginal cost exactly the same as marginal revenue, then it is going to be the maximum that you are going to produce. A monopoly maximizes profit by choosing the quantity at which marginal revenue equals marginal cost, that's on point A. It then uses the demand curve to find the price that will induce consumers to buy that quantity on point B. Here one question. How does the monopoly find the profit maximizing price for its product? The demand curve answers this question because the demand curve relates the amount that customers are willing to pay to the quantity sold. Thus, after the monopoly firm chooses the quantity of output that equates marginal revenue and marginal cost, it uses the demand curve to find the highest price it can charge and sell that quantity. Now we're moving to part 4, that is a monopoly's profit. The profits of monopoly come from the same idea. So we have total revenue minus total cost, then we can do both by Q and then multiply it by Q. So here profit equals total revenue over Q minus total cost over Q times Q. So there is no difference. Then after that, we will have the total revenue definition. It's going to be price times Q over Q, and total cost over Q, it's going to be average total cost and times Q. Then Q, it remains the same, so Q over Q, you can cancel out. Then we have profit equals price minus average total cost times Q. This is also for competitive firms, but the difference is on competitive firm, it's gonna be 0, but in monopoly, it's going to be higher than 0. Now we're moving to the curve. Here we have a cost and revenue, then we have quantity, also the demand of the monopoly, and here we have marginal revenue that usually lower than the demand, and here we have the marginal cost and average total cost. So the question is, which is going to be the quantity that monopoly going to choose? The answer is, basically it's going to be some point where the marginal cost is exactly the same as marginal revenue. Then there's going to be quantity max that maximizes the profit, and it's going to be the price charged by the monopoly. Then here is going to be the average total cost. Price minus average total cost is the side, and it's going to be the quantity max. So this one square is going to be the profit of the monopoly. So from this topic, we know that monopoly is the sole producer in its market. It faces the downward sloping demand curve for its product. A monopoly arises when a single firm owns the key resources, when the government gives a firm the exclusive right to produce a good, or when a single firm can supply the entire market at a smaller cost than many firms could. When the monopoly increases production by 1 unit, it causes the price of its good to fall, which reduces the amount of revenue earned on all units produced. As a result, a monopoly's marginal revenue is always below the price of its good. The monopoly then chooses the price at which the quantity is demanded. Like a competitive firm, a monopoly firm maximizes profit by producing the quantity at which marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Unlike a competitive firm, a monopoly firm's price exceeds its marginal revenue, so its price exceeds marginal cost. So that's all our topic about how monopolies make production and pricing decisions. If you're happy with this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Artificial and Fact channel. Thank you for your attention and see you on the next video. Bye!